In today's video, I want to show you how I use some of my mixed media art and turn it into a seamless pattern repeat for some of my pattern collections. So I have this one. In an earlier video, I shared the version 1 of this. It's an earlier one that I created, and I used some gold color ink, so I replaced that with white. In this one, I learned a lesson and I didn't use that. So I like what I have here. This is just a scan. I scanned this art piece at 1200 dpi, which is the maximum that I can scan from my scanner. So the first thing I usually do is I duplicate the layer. So I select the layer, I use Ctrl J, duplicate the layer, I create a new layer in between, and then I fill with black just to make sure that I cutting the areas that I need to cut. The letter G in the keyboard brings up the bucket tool, so make sure you're in the right layer and fill that layer with black, and it shows here in your layers panel. The next step that I want to do with this one is I want to get rid of all this white border and create a separate white border just to have an art print of it. So the first thing I want to do is to get the rectangular marquee tool for my selection, and just select make a selection of the actual art, and I can use Ctrl Shift I inverses that selection, and I just want to delete that extra. Now I want to remove a little bit of this white here on the left and the right, so I just want to use that same marquee tool and just bring it in just enough. I don't want to delete too much of the art, and I want to do the same thing on the right hand side, just enough of the art. Don't want to delete a lot of the art, but I don't want that white border either. Now it's looking good. The next thing I want to do is I want to center it, so I just want to go to arrange, align in the center, and arrange, align in the middle, and you can also do that here. If you select the move tool, you can align in the center and align in the middle here. The next thing, this is looking good. One thing I want to do is I want to bring a little bit more brightness into the artwork, so I want to go to the adjustments, and I like using the curves and see how that works. So I add one to just brighten it up a little bit. I like that. It's a little bit lighter in color, but now just enough to bring the darker colors a little bit. So I like that curve. It looks good, so I want to keep it. The next thing I want to do here, it's basically I want, now that I have something that's starting to look nice like an art print, I want to change my background to white. So just double click on it, select the white, and with the bucket tool just fill that layer. Make sure that you're in the right layer in your layer spanner, and that's looking good. I like that. So one thing I can do is I'm going to go ahead and group these two layers. First I want to create another duplicate, Ctrl J, and then I want to rasterize this layer. Actually, I want to remove the background, and I want to kind of right click on the curves that I added on that adjustment, and I want to merge the adjustment for this one because I like it. And so I just click on it and then click on merge the adjustment. Now I have that applied. I no longer need the groups, so I just have a layer that is rasterized. I'm going to hide the last two layers. So I have a layer that is rasterized and has my adjustments applied. The next thing, now we are ready to make a selection here and then start building the pattern. I want to use a lot of it, a lot of the center, but I don't want to have these straight lines. So I want to go ahead and then make a selection, go over to my freehand selection tool, and I just want to make a selection, even if it's a little curvy. I don't want to have too many straight lines. Just want to keep a lot of the artwork that I like, and I like that. I like that selection. I'm going to go ahead and copy. I use Control C, or you can right click and hit copy, and then I can bring it over to my Affinity Designer and start working on my pattern. And I like this, using this diamond shape pattern, because it gives me a little bit of offset on the sides of the artwork. And I think for this type of art that it's very mixed media all over, it helps hide the grid a little bit better. So I have already copied the artwork from Affinity Photo, and I want to go ahead and just paste it here in Affinity Designer. And now that my artwork is here, I want to make a copy, maybe one or two, in case I make any changes later. I'm gonna hide two of those, and then this one that I have selected, I want to figure out what is the best way for me to start working on the pattern. I want to make sure that I cover most of the area. I want to keep it, so first move the artwork into the pattern section, so you can see I like already how it looks, but I know it looks kind of fun. Well, I know that some of these areas are a little bit hard edges. This one, it's working well. This one, there's a little bit hard edge here. Some of these I'm okay with, and then I also know that I'm gonna have an issue here on this side. It's gonna give me a straight line that I would have to fix, and the same thing down here. I'm gonna have to fix all these edges. So I like how it looks. I want to try to make it just a little bit smaller and see how that it's going to look, to align a little bit better some of these areas. I kind of like it. Like this is looking good. So the next thing I want to do here is fix all these and try to turn it into an actual, fix all these areas and try to make it into an actual pattern. I'm going to make it just a little bit smaller because it's huge, and maybe center it a little bit better inside my, if I hit the backward slash, it's the same as clip to canvas. So this is going to be my my tile for my pattern, and I know that this area here I'm gonna have to fix because it's going to be like a straight line. The same with this area here at the bottom a little bit, and then some of these hard edges that are forming from my art. But I like the way that it's kind of interacting. It looks interesting this way. So one thing that I can do right now is to decide whether I want to keep this pattern the way it is, and one thing I can do is play with these blend modes and see if I can get something that looks a little bit better. I usually like when I'm doing this type of artwork that it's very that has a lot of texture and it's mixed media. I like using either an overlay or a soft light. I don't like these colors very much, so the next thing I can do is to create a swatch of these create swatches of these colors and use that for my background. So in order for me to do that, I go over to my swatches panel, and in the three lines I go over to create palette from document, and I want to create an application palette because I want to make sure that I can use it in my other apps such as Affinity Photo or Affinity Publisher later. So I click on that. It's giving me the swatches coming from this document, and I like that. So the first thing I want to do is let's change this background to maybe a light pink background, and let's see how this pattern looks when I change this to lighten or screen. Is a little bit too much. I like overlay. That looks good already, and soft light. So I like the soft light. And the other thing that I can do here obviously is to hide my guides, and the pattern already looks good. Looks like a simple blender textured pattern, and it's probably a really good design. If I deselect, I don't see a lot of the lines, see, so or a lot of the overlap, and I think this by itself is a fantastic, already beautiful texture pattern that I can use. So this would be my pattern number 1. So I'm going to go ahead and file, export. It's going to export just my tile, and I'm just going to say this is Blender Abstract Mixed Media 1. Okay, so that's one option to create a pattern. Now again, clip to canvas. It's the backward slash in your keyboard, but you can also go to view, and here in the view mode you can select clip to canvas, and then you can see everything else outside of that. So that's one option. The option that I usually use, it's basically changes back to normal, and let's fix those edges and have something a little bit more blending a little bit better. So first I want to go ahead and save this file, save as abstract mixed media 1, and now I can go ahead and export my tile, and for that is Control Alt Shift S in your keyboard. If you like using the keyboard shortcuts, I prefer that. And now I can go ahead and export my abstract mixed media 1 to refine. I'm just going to add that here at the end. And then I want to go over to Affinity Photo. Okay, so let's open the file over here in Affinity Photo, and let's see. The first thing I want to do is I want to fix a little bit of this edge here, and I also want to fix it on this side. So in order to do that, I always make a copy. I always like to keep the original, so keep the original locked, or you can hide it. And then the first step is make a selection so that we stay within the 7200 pixels that the style is, and we don't add any extra pixels around it. So first hit Control and click on the actual icon in the layer, and then that's going to make the selection. So then the next step is to find the healing brush tool. It's if you cannot find it in your tools, just head over, and where it says the patch tool, that may be showing first, just click on click and hold, and then you'll find the healing brush tool. So I want to use this healing brush tool, and the first thing you want to do in this is to select an area that it's going to use as a reference for the healing of these edges, and I want to hit Alt, select the area, and then very carefully let's try to use these. As you can see, it's starting to kind of diffuse or kind of smooth out some of those edges, and we just want to be very careful and make sure that we don't have any extra any extra steps. So that looks good. I don't want to make too many sharp lines, and on this side I think it's this area here that looks a little bit sharp, and maybe even around here just enough. Okay, so that looks good. And so hit escape. I want to make sure that I go over and make sure that in the transform panel is 7200, 7200, so we haven't had any pixels, so it's looking good. And we did the healing on the inside. I think I like this. I may want to fix that a little bit later, but I don't mind right now. I think it's looking okay. So the next thing I want to do is to make 4 copies of these and make sure that I can fix the seams or the edges around it. So let's select this first one and put it in this first quadrant. You want to make sure that you're completely aligned, so make sure you have the red lines and the green lines going over. Do the same for the second layer. Let's move it to this other quadrant, the third layer. Move it to the next quadrant and make sure you see the lines. They're removed. Okay. And in the transform tool, you can click on it and make sure that you're at the pixels match. Okay, and then the last one, and it's looking good. Okay, so now hit escape. And the next thing I want to do is I want to put all these layers into one single layer, so I want to merge them. So right click, select all 4 layers, right click and click merge selected. So now we see the areas that we need to fix here. We need to fix a little bit on this side, a little bit on this side, a little bit here at the top and the bottom. And let's do that the same way. First, make sure you hit Control, click on the layer to make sure that you have a full selection and we don't add any extra pixels. And then head over, find the healing brush tool and hit Alt, pick the area that you want to use as a reference, and these looking good. Just carefully. I try to stay as far away from the edges as I can because I don't want to make any changes. And then here hit Alt, select the area you want to use kind of as a reference and use the healing tool. Small strokes. And then now here at the top we have a big area, so first let's select this side as the reference and fix this area as well. Maybe I want to select this little area here, it gives me as a reference, so that it gives me something a little bit different to look at. It's a little bit too far over there, but it's doing, I don't like that one, it's a little bit too far and it's bringing some other colors, so I just want to make a little bit closer selection, and it's looking good. I just want to be very careful when I'm doing these. So okay, and now I seem like it's looking very good. A lot of it's been fixed, just a little bit more here, and that looks good. So hit escape to deselect. I want to make sure that I have a layer. Looks like down here I have some extra pixels that I may have to fix. I'm going to move this up just enough so that I can find the specific area. that I need to fix, and I am going to go ahead and use the rectangular marquee tool. And probably the better thing to do is to be exact and not and just make the I see just very close. Okay, so I think we can delete these. And then let's see, bring these escape, then select, bring this back down, and I have 7200, 7212, so I still have 12 pixels. Just select, just move it down just enough, and then let's fix those extra pixels. Select the marquee tool, and I'm sure there is a mathematical way to do it so that we don't remove extra pixels from our design. Now deselect. Now let's test it. Okay, so now that we have a tile that it's seamless and we fixed some of the areas that we wanted to fix, the last step is to go ahead and test it. So the first thing I want to do here to test it is I want to make sure that I'm in the layer, and in the move tool I select it. I want to put it over into my assets just for a moment. I am going to hide the tile layer, and then I'm going to select, well, change it back to white. But now what we want to do is go over and select the gradient tool, and then once the gradient tool is selected, click over in your assets where you have the tile, and let's just move it around and see how it's starting to look. It looks good. Let's zoom in. We can move this now around. Make sure we don't see any seams. There's a little bit here, but that's very zoomed in, so it shouldn't be able. It shouldn't. But it's looking good. It's looking very good. It looks like it repeats, and all the seams are fixed, and we have a pattern that we can add to our portfolio. I hope you like this video and learned something, and see you soon.